Oh my god! I haven't made a video in 2 months! Oh jeez. What can I make a video about? There's gotta be something here. No, that's stupid. No, not that, no. Wait! I got it! Chef's LUV Shack. This game is garbage and I love it. Do you remember how I talked about those movies we had as kids that nobody remembers how it got there? Like, nobody has any idea who bought it, when they bought it, where they bought it. It was just in the house and on the shelf for some reason. Well, that goes for video games too sometimes. And one of those games for me, or rather for the friend of mine who originally owned it before he gave it to me, was South Park Chef's LUV Shack for the PS1. Anytime we hung out as kids, this game would end up getting played at least once during the visit. And hell, we still find ourselves playing it on occasion to this day. But the funny thing about that is, this game sucks in every possible way. This may sound completely crazy now that we live in a post-stick of truth and fractured by the whole world, but once upon a time, there was no such thing as a good South Park video game. Back when the show had just become a hit, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, the series creators who would later make other hysterically inappropriate comedies such as Team America and The Book of Mormon, had very little to do with the making of the games. Developers either couldn't really get away with trying to match the infamously raunchy tone of the show, resulting in a somewhat muted product, or they flat out had no idea what the hell to do with this strange new IP, which then led to the creation of some now infamous shitty turkey shooters and crappy kart races. And then there's this baby, Chef's LUV Shack, which came out in 1999 on Sega Dreamcast, Nintendo 64, home computers, and PlayStation 1, which is the version I'm looking at. And with a title like Chef's LUV Shack and starring Chef who is known for his amazing love-making skills, almost as good as my own, this seems like the perfect game for today's episode. But why is that, you ask? Well, dear viewer, that's because this just so happens to be Fiction Addiction episode 69.
69, dudes!
But I can't keep stalling. You all know what South Park is. I already told you the game sucks, so let's just pop this fucker in and see what we're dealing with. Of course, I have to say right out the gate, regardless of how crap the game itself is, this theme song by Isaac Hayes is worth the price of admission alone.
You and me and her, simultaneous you and me, and Winona Ryder, simultaneous loving, baby, 2 or 3, simultaneous.
Oh hell yeah, now we're cooking with massage oil. So, much like how the other games tried and failed at being a shooter and a kart racer respectively, Chef's LUV Shack tries and fails at being a party quiz game of all things. The base premise is that Chef, ever the sex god that he is, has managed to score himself a late night game show on local South Park channels. The idea of the show is for the lovely ladies of South Park to compete over winning a romantic evening with him. But of course, with this being South Park, poor Chef ends up stuck with our iconic kitty quartet instead. Hilariously, the announcer does have a few different excuses for why the kids are the contestants.
Roy, why the hell can't we ever get lovely ladies?
Sorry, Chef. The cheerleading squad had practice today.
Well, hold up a sec.
Sorry, Chef. Rick James is in town. He's got all the lovely ladies.
Yeah, and from what I hear about the guy, he doesn't like letting them go home either.
Chef, it's South Park. There are no lovely ladies.
Now see, that one I believe. And just because they hired an announcer and they're gonna give him every opportunity to be a snarky prick, he gets in a few singers as he introduces each of the kids as well.
Lovely lady number 1 is Kyle Brodlowski. Loyal, noble, handsome, rich. None of these words describes Kyle.
And neither does Happy to be here, judging from the look on his face.
Stan is descended from the Marsh clan who ruled the Scottish Highlands with an iron fist, brutalizing all who dared challenge their bloodthirsty reign of terror. Stan likes playing with his choo-choo.
Oh, is that what the kids are calling it nowadays?
Jagged, jaggedy jack. Spanking it, smacking it, smack.
This young up-and-comer enjoys dumpster diving to feed his poverty-stricken family.
Yeah. Enjoys.
And our last lovely lady is Eric Cartman. A 3rd grader at South Park Elementary, Eric one day hopes to run the Legion of Doom.
And under his rule, the world shall finally be rid of that pesky superhero, Seaman.
It's not Seaman, it's Seaman!
Right at the beginning, you choose how many players you want and how many rounds you want to play. My advice is always go with 8 rounds if you want the game to last any longer than your average piss break. Now, I'm not sure why you would want that, but I need as much footage as possible for this video, so... fuck me, I guess. From here you go to quiz segments, answering chef's questions and earning 500 points for each correct answer, or losing 500 points if you get it wrong or take too long to respond after buzzing in. Aside from random trivia, the questions tend to either be about South Park specifically, random pop culture, or oddly worded facts relating to all the pee, butts, poops, and farts that the game can possibly get away with.
Which would an earthbound proctologist use to probe Cartman? If you just love Mr. Hanky, you might be the healthiest pee in the pool would be this color. What's the scientific name for a fart?
Hell if I know, I just know Bert Gummer calls it an ass blast, and I'll follow the whims of the mighty Michael Gross any day. Unfortunately for me, the game seems to have a major hard-on for sports, more specifically the '91 Denver Broncos, who for some reason have an entire category to themselves.
Mrs. Cartman could be called South Park's top receiver. Who earned that title for the '91 Broncos? Mr. Hat wanted to find Brett Favre in the shower after Brett lost to the Broncos. He should have been at this Super Bowl. What was the '91 Denver Broncos win-loss record?
First of all, I'm Scandinavian, so I know nothing about American football by default. But second, I mean, look at me, man. Do I look like I've ever picked up a sports ball by choice? Whatever. There seems to also be a whole category about Godzilla movies, so it all adds up. What can I say? Sometimes being a geek pays off. They even sneak in a reference to Alfred Packer, America's first convicted cannibal, who Trey Parker made a whole-ass movie about called Cannibal the Musical back when he was fresh out of college. Ain't that just the most spadoingle thing?
The sky is blue and all the leaves are green. The sun's as warm as a baked potato.
I do have to give the writers of this game some credit though. Some of the joke answers they give to some of these questions are way funnier than the actual game itself.
The biggest, buffiest, beefiest champion sumos are called
Fat!
According to movie myth, Godzilla was awakened from his prehistoric disco nap by...
Why, the Chinese winning at volleyball, obviously.
When a Jewish boy's little, he gets a bris. When he becomes a man, he gets...
A bat mitzvah, a bar mitzvah, a bas mitzvah, or... revenge! Now, just to keep things interesting, there are a few things to spice up the quiz segments. Most common is the double down, which is basically just where you can bet a large amount of points on the next question if you like. Whether or not it pays off with questions like these is up in the air though. Then there's the Wheel of Fortuitousness, where you can either win or lose 1,000 points, lose your next turn, have absolutely nothing happen, or get thrown into a single player minigame to try and win a few extra points. And finally, there's the pressure round, where you had to answer 20 either-or style questions in a row on a strict time limit in order to ensure that Cartman gets properly probed by the aliens.
You dumbass f***ing hippie motherfucker, my damn ass is sorry as hell!
And if you fail, well, I mean, he's relieved at least.
You are the coolest guy I have ever known. My ass is eternally grateful. See, it's saying thank you.
The farts. I'm 32 years old. If you're actually playing as Cartman, you even get to watch him be abducted from the set via this tube here. Gotta give credit for that detail. As far as I can tell, these things happen completely at random too. I've experienced several double downs in a row, got entire games without ever seeing the pressure round, or literally not played a single round without at least one spin of the wheel. And since the game just loves to put up a loading screen for everything, that gets old really fast. Oh, you watched the intro? Loading screen. Pick players, loading screen. Pick rounds, loading screen. Double down, loading screen. Wheel, loading screen. Pressure round, loading screen. This is the video game equivalent of cardboard cutout graphics, and all you're doing is answering trivia questions. What the hell are you even loading? I mean, goddamn, this shit takes longer than the average South Park episode takes to make. Actually, when I think about it, it might be the sound clips. The loading still sucks though. Once you've answered 3 questions and most likely skewed the point distribution to hilarious degrees thanks to that goddamn double down, you're then thrown into a minigame, and whoo boy, this is where the game starts getting really shitty. In the stupidest and funnest way imaginable. Aside from a mildly amusing South Park coat of paint, this is the most bare bones, unimaginative set of minigames I've ever seen. And this is coming from the guy who was stupid enough to force a friend to play Muppet Party Cruise with him a while back. Every game is essentially just a shittier ripoff of an older video game. We've got Bees at the Picnic, which is basically Galaga, go-karting lifted from Super Sprint, a balloon fight clone, Warlords but with snow forts, and a completely goddamn impossible frog toss game that is the worst thing I've ever played. Hit that platform already, you fucking frog! Why does it keep going away so fast? Ski Free without the troll, which instantly makes it not nearly as fun or memorable. Roundup, where you repeatedly murder chickens by throwing them at a wall, because this is where the game decides to suddenly require precision. And Asteroids, which, oh wow, I wonder where they got this from!
I thought on you!
There are a few minigames that are quote-unquote original, but they boil down to just button mashing like the pie eating contest or Stampede, or rhythmic button pressing like Tug of War, which... yeah, I've been playing this game on and off since 2001, and I still have no goddamn idea how this shit works. But the worst part isn't even that these minigames are unimaginative or just plain not that good. They're actually still kind of fun because you can hear South Park voices talk trash the whole time, and they try to cram in as many characters and little bits from the show as they can. No, the real problem is that this is where the point distribution goes complete out of whack. Or at least it does if you're playing with any less than 4 players. So far, the points have made sense. You answer a question, you get points. You answer wrong, you lose points. The occasional double down or lucky wheel spin gives you a chance to catch up. Cool, awesome, it totally works. In its own not that great way at least. But the minigames, oh man, the minigames. Many of them will have pickups you can grab along the way for extra points and base their points on your performance before dropping out, which is fine. But some of the games also award points based on your placement, giving the first place player up to 1,500 points and a whopping 0 to the last place player. Now, I'm sure that's fine with 4 players, but first of all, you would have to be lucky to find even one person who's willing to play this thing with you. And second, at least if you're playing the PS1 version, you're still going to need a multi-tap to have more players. And frankly, at this point, I'm tempted to consider those the video game equivalent of Bigfoot sightings. I have never met a single person who has even seen one in real life, and even the photos tend to be blurry as shit. Now, imagine this. 2 players enter a minigame. They both have the same amount of points. One wins, one loses. The winner gets 1,500 points, and the loser gets 0. That means that the second place player would have to buzz in first on all 3 questions in the next round and answer them all correctly just to catch back up. And even that could be impossible based on the first player's various in-game bonuses. And that's assuming none of the bonus quiz segments happen to throw things further out of that player's favor. Add having points reducted for wrong answers, and it is incredibly easy for the game's point distribution to get hilariously and irreparably screwed within just a few rounds of play. Now, once again, I'm only speaking from a 2-player experience. I've never tried this with 3 other people. It's totally possible that everything adds up way better then. I understand that, I really do. But if the whole game goes out of balance the second you're any less than 4 people playing it, then the game has a fundamental flaw that needs to be addressed. But why, I hear you wonder, would you ever only be 2 players at a time? There's 4 player characters. There are 4 contestant spots on the game show. There's plenty of minigames that have 4 characters. Why would there ever only be 2 players at a time? Well, let me put it this way. Ignore all I said about how bad this game is for a second, and pretend that this, Chef's LUV SHACK on PS1, is your favorite video game of all time. Hey, don't look at me like that, just play along. You love this game. You play it every single time your friends come over. You want to ace it. You want to master every minigame. You want to memorize every trivia question, also you can make your friends gasp in amazement at what a complete Chef's LUV SHACK savant you've become. So you pop in the disc, ready to practice your ass off. And? Tough shit, kid, you're on your own. That's right, this party game has no AI players. Only in a small handful of minigames like Snowfort, where 4 players are essential for the game to function at all, do you ever deal with an AI player. But the quiz segments and all other minigames? No, go fuck yourself. You're stuck with whoever you can scrounge up that is willing to spend their day playing Chef's LUV SHACK. You get to just sit there as the game reminds you of all those friends you don't have, while you tell Chef the name of Chewie's son from the Star Wars Holiday Special. It's Lumpy.
Roar, who's our winner? Our big winner today is Kenny McCormick.
This is the most depressing thing I've ever seen. Granted, there are a few single-player only minigames that you'd otherwise never see unless you get them on the wheel of fortuitousness. But they still boil down to shit like playing Simon, Whack-A-Mole, 2 versions of Finding the Ball Under the Cup, or playing rip-offs of old video games like Game & Watch, Donkey Kong and Paperboy, none of which are any better than the multiplayer ones. Now take all the bad things I've told you about the questions, the load times, the minigames, the point distribution, and then guess. Just take a wild guess how long the average full 8-round game of Chef's Love Shack on the PS1 actually takes. Go on. Guess. 25 minutes. That's all. And all you get is a brief but admittedly kind of cute slideshow of the South Park style development team taking a bow. There are no new minigames, no more characters, or any new game modes to unlock. All you can do is just play another round if you feel like it. And believe me, once you've played 2 or 3 games of this, you'll pretty much have seen all it has to offer. So, yeah, I wasn't joking when I said that this game is garbage. But I wasn't joking when I said I love it either. It's not a good game on a technical level. There's barely any content, and what's there is mediocre at best. But somewhere beneath all of that, it actually still does manage to have just a little bit of that unique South Park charm. I mean, it really tries to deliver the South Park we know and love, and the show-accurate 2D graphical style is wonderful. But still, it just can't match the completely bonkers foul-mouthed tone of the show, no matter how amusing spanking a 4-assed monkey might be.
Well, I think a certain young man has had some experience spanking the monkey.
Jacking for the Lord.
Now, to give some credit, it's worth remembering that when this game came out, South Park was only in its 3rd season, and the movie had just come out a few months beforehand, which means that the developers most likely based the game on only the first 2 seasons. No matter how you look at it, this just isn't that much material to base a whole party game on, but they tried. They really tried. And I personally think that deserves at least a little bit of praise. But this isn't a game you play because you're looking for a genuinely good party game. I mean, hell, it's not even a game you play because you're just that much of a hardcore South Park fan. This is a game you break out once or twice a year to play with friends, also you can laugh your ass off yelling at them about the bullshit point distribution, or give them sauce over how lucky they are to get 3 questions in a row about some random ass subject they have no business knowing that much about in the first place. It's an excuse to chuckle at some stupid fart jokes and talk shit over a terrible game of frog toss that you only win by luck anyway. And sometimes when you're with your friends, that level of brain dead entertainment is exactly what the doctor ordered. So you know what? I learned something today. It doesn't always matter if the game is good or bad or even outright horrible. No, what's really important are the people you play it with. And if you have friends that are willing to play something as crappy as Chef's Love Shack with you just to get a cheap laugh, well, then I'd say you're keeping very good company. And if not, then your friends really need to get the sand out of their vaginas. Hey there guys, and thank you so much for watching this video about a terrible video game that I nonetheless love so dearly. Do you have any games that you know are bad but still can't help but love? Then tell us all about them in the comments below, and make sure to click the like button while you're doing that. Special thanks go out to Silvermoon Ravenwolf, Warren Miller, Pocket Mouse, and all my other Patreon supporters. If you'd like to support me as well, you can find links in the description below to my Patreon, Ko-fi, and TeePublic pages. And of course, you're also welcome to join my Discord server. The link to that is down there as well. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe so you'll be the first to know when new stuff comes out. See you then, folks. Bye bye.